Hey gamers, Foxfires here, bringing you a guide on the best motion-friendly multiplayer Quest 2 VR games. This is part of a comprehensive multiplayer guide linked here. Alright, so let's get to it. The top 5 multiplayer games for teleport movement or no movement even for some of these games, so motion-friendly games. Starting off, I'd say number 5 is Catan. Settlers of Catan. This is a classic board game, and so again, jumping straight into the whole like different tastes. Board games may not be your style, especially when you're talking about VR, but for me, especially during the pandemic, I am a board game geek. I love Settlers of Catan, and to be able to play this in VR is so much better than even playing like a digital version, say on PC, like Catan Universe through Steam, for example. And the reason for that is because with Catan VR, it throws your avatars in there together. You have a physical table space that's three-dimensional. You're interacting with these different things, you know, in the interface menu, but it's just that physical presence makes it feel real. So rather than, you know, just talking to your friends in a 2D environment or something, it feels like you're actually there with your friends in much more of a real kind of a way. And so I really appreciate that, again, especially during the pandemic. I love Catan, and so I would definitely rate this in my top 5. Number 4, Drop Dead. So this is a fun zombie shooter that is fun either as a single player solo or as multiplayer. So the multiplayer part of it is, I guess, a zombie horde wave shoot 'em up. And so there are different kind of wave maps, and it's an insane intense, you know, as you go through the higher end waves, more and more zombies are coming at you, and there are different kinds of, you know, weapons that you can get. Some of them are melee, some of them are, you know, different types of guns, and so I would highly recommend this. This is a lot of fun to play with a friend, especially, you know, cooperatively in terms of, you know, what wave can you guys get to together, but also even slightly competitive because each player is given a score at the end, and so you can see, you know, how well you did compared to your friends, and so that's a fun aspect of it too. The solo play of it is a really nice story kind of campaign, and I would definitely recommend the single player mode for that. Number 3, Demeo. I really love Demeo. Demeo is kind of like a tabletop D&D but in VR. So imagine if you had a D&D map, um, and it was just three-dimensional, and you could go and explore different rooms, and as you explore into them, they, you know, they reveal themselves. You can then, once you get close enough, you can see the features in the room and the monsters in the room, etc. And so this has got, you know, the kinds of classes that you expect from D&D. So it's things like there's this warrior paladin kind of a class, the Guardian. It's called the Guardian. There's a mage sorcerer. There is an assassin kind of a character, and they've recently introduced with the latest map that just came out, the recent update, also the bard class. And then, of course, in the original lineup too, as I'm thinking about it, there is a hunter, which I call it hunter. It's a ranger. The ranger class, as you can imagine, kind of an elven bow ranged kind of damage, and so the way that this kind of works is similar to D&D, how you have access to different abilities. Demeo works in that you have a few cards in your hand, and you gain additional cards, additional abilities as you play the game. And so then you can use these different cards and use these different abilities to overcome different challenges and different monsters that, you know, come at you. And some of it, as in D&D, they're going to be, you know, easy challenges, just regular kinds of monsters. But then there are going to be really heavy, hard-hitting monsters like trolls and gorgons, and, you know, all the kinds of things that you typically think of, you know, a high fantasy kind of medievally game. I would highly recommend Demeo, especially if you like RPG games that are kind of like D&D style. Number 2, Orbus. I have probably spent more time in Orbus than any other VR game. Orbus is the first MMO RPG in VR. And if you've seen the videos on this channel, you know I'm a big MMO fan. And so, of course, I had to play the first MMO for VR. And it started off, as you can imagine, quite small, pioneering a lot of new things, being the first VR MMO. And not just the first VR MMO, but in a space and in a time when there were almost no multiplayer games available at all. And the fact that they made this, cross-platform was fantastic, because again, this also came out in a time when there were almost no cross-platform kinds of games. And so that it was able to throw everybody in there together was fantastic. And as you can imagine, with most MMOs like WoW, for example, or ESO, you have these very kind of high fantasy kinds of classes. You have the warrior class, you have a paladin, you have the wizard, sorcerer, mage class. You also have the ranger class. And the musketeer. So the healing classes are musketeer and bard, and I actually play musketeer as my main in Orbus, and I absolutely love it. It is in my opinion, the funnest class to play. And so, just taking a step back and broadening it back out to Orbus in general, if you've ever liked playing MMOs and RPGs, or if the person you want to gift it to, this is definitely your go-to game. There are no other titles on the market right now for this. There have been several that have been planned. They've been delayed due to, well, MMOs always get delayed, but the pandemic certainly didn't help, and so none of the other MMOs are still out. One of them was slotted to still come out by the end of the year. I think it was Zenith, or maybe I'm misremembering which one was coming out by the end of the year, but it still hasn't come out. Orbus is still like the go-to. The graphic style is kind of old school, kind of cartoony. It's very cartoony. And so the graphic style puts some people off, but it's something that definitely grows on you and is quite fun. And some of the transmogs in the game are a lot of fun too, because, you can put together like a penguin set and run around, looking like a penguin for Christmas. It's a lot of fun. I'd also say, like, one of my favorite things about Orbus is the co-op dungeons. So again, like, as you find in many MMORPGs, you have a 5-man dungeon. There are raids for larger groups as well. And so just, having some fun with your friends, it's fun to go into one of these 5-man dungeons. And you don't have to have 5 people to do it. One of the things that me and my friends have had a lot of fun with is trying to do it with 3 and 4 players, and that's totally doable. It just makes it a bit of an extra challenge. Number 1, Acron. So Acron is a bit different than the other multiplayer games in that you are the only one in the headset. Everyone else, your other friends, are using a phone app, the Acron phone app. And the way this fun game works is they're squirrels, you're an oak tree, you've got some acorns, and each one of these acorns kind of spawns over a period of time. And their goal is kind of like capture the flag for VR. Their goal is to run up to you, steal an acorn, and get it back to their base in order to score a point. And they have to score all 4 acorns in order to win the game within, the time frame. Each one of these matches is only a few minutes, and it is absolutely hilarious because as they're running in, trying to steal these acorns, you, the tree, the person who's in VR, can pick up the squirrels, toss them. You can chuck these like giant plant balls at them. And so that knocks them out, makes them have to respawn at their base, and it is a ton of fun. I can't even begin to describe how many countless hours of fun I have had playing Acron. So each one of the squirrels too, there are different, I guess each different squirrel has a different ability, and so you can choose like which squirrel that you want to play as. And so some of them are tunnelers, and so they're really good about being able to get right up, dig a tunnel, get right up to you, snag an acorn, and go back through that tunnel and try and get a head start back to the base. There's a speedy squirrel, and it can, kind of try and get close-ish, pop it, speed boost, zoom on in, grab it, and zoom out. And the idea is, of course, they're trying to pull off these different ability tricks so that you don't just easily snap a plant ball at them and make them respawn. And then, so what else? There's the bridge squirrel, so that you can build bridges up into the air. And so for some of the different maps that they have, that's really important because some of the maps have, these like deep canyons that if you fall into them, you just immediately have to respawn. And there are also, maps where it's useful to kind of try to get above the tree and then drop down. So there are all kinds of different strategies, and it's a lot of fun. So different people, find different play styles, different squirrels that they like, together cooperatively working together as a team. One person will be the tunneler, one person will be the zoom, and so together they'll try and get those acorns back to the base. And you as the tree. Both roles are fun, squirrel and tree. You as the tree have a lot of fun just attacking the squirrels. Okay, so a bonus that is actually kind of tied for first. It's a game called After the Fall. It just came out, and it is specifically for Quest 2, not Quest 1. So if you are a player that has a Quest 1, do pay attention to what Quest games a given title will support, because some of the new games coming out don't support the original Quest, and so you can see that the Quest is getting phased out. It's not clear at the moment how long it will take for the Quest to be phased out altogether, but so definitely with big title games like After the Fall, you're going to start to see that shift. So it is a fantastic game for Quest 2. It is from the makers of Arizona Sunshine. So if you know anything about, the history of, VR, Arizona Sunshine originally was like one of the absolute best titles available. It was a ton of fun in solo campaign mode. It's a zombie kind of a shooter. You play a character who is kind of out in the wilderness, just kind of surviving and getting by, and you hear this radio message that there are other people, and you spend the game trying to find your way to find these other people. So yeah, no spoilers, but it is a lot of fun. It's a great story as you go through, and it also was one of the very only few games that you could play with 2 players in campaign mode, so that you and a friend could actually do the campaign mode. It's also got a multiplayer mode that goes up to 4, and again, it's a zombie wave horde kind of shoot 'em up there, where you together are around like kind of like a little encampment, a little tent with some ammunition, and you're kind of guarding different directions as zombies come at you from all sides, and so you just fight progressively more difficult waves. One of the things I will say about Arizona Sunshine is that it hasn't aged well. Arizona Sunshine is one of those games that it has a clunky gameplay at times. It's got the teleport movement, which is great, but the clunky gameplay at times, especially during the Horde Wave shoot 'em up, the multiplayer with 4, there'll be a lot of jerking around, and so one of the things that's definitely true is I can't play that game as long as some of the other titles. So it hasn't aged well in that regard, just because so many of the games are good with smooth gameplay and smooth interface now. So After the Fall was made by the same creators as Arizona Sunshine, and effectively you could kind of think of this as Arizona Sunshine, but remade for the updated capabilities for Quest 2 graphics, additional kind of monster play. It's fantastic. I would definitely put this as tied for first. And one more bonus game would be Skyworld Kingdom Brawl. So I like deck building games like Magic the Gathering. I used to play Hearthstone back in the day, and so I really enjoy kind of a deck building strategy kind of a game. And Skyworld Kingdom Brawl is really fun for VR because it's got a bit of that, deck strategy, but then it puts it, on this 3D kind of a tabletop against your opponent, where you are, spawning dragons and trying to push lanes to destroy your enemy's towers and castle before they destroy yours. And so it's just a lot of fun to see those dragons come to life three-dimensionally. It's a lot of fun to come up with the different kinds of units and try to push those different lanes in different ways. And so I really appreciate, you know, a good fun strategy game like that. So I couldn't leave that off of the top hit list. I'd like to hear too what your favorite games are. I'm kind of curious how much of an overlap my tastes are with yours, and also, you know, if you know there are different games that I haven't played, like Carly and the Reaper Man. So that's a game that I've thought about picking up for a while and just haven't had a chance to do that yet. So there are definitely other cool looking titles out there. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you like this video. Like, subscribe. Would love to hear more from you. Thanks. As always, thanks for watching, gamers. I'm Foxfires, and this has been a fun holiday guide for Quest 2 multiplayer VR gaming.